Hello and welcome to a very special episode of pop.vox.presents. I'm Phil Vecchio, and thank you guys for joining us so much. We have a very special episode, like I said, tonight. Before we get to it, let me also introduce you to the other wonderful person who is going to be here with us during the show, Janelle, who is always here, but you're going to play a little bigger role tonight.
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone.
Janelle has been my co-conspirator in pop.vox.music for many a year now.
All the years, really.
Well, we'll talk about that history there and how that began.
I've seen it from the beginning.
You've seen it you have been around since the very beginning, yes. You just haven't been funding it the whole time, that's all. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I want to welcome everyone in the chat if you're watching live. Just like any other show, you can ask questions in there, make comments. It's just Janelle and I here tonight. We don't have any of the actual artists here because we're talking about the whole history, and I can't fit, 23 years worth of music history into one show and have a bunch of guests. So we're going to cover it all. And here's how we're going to approach it. I'm going to kind of go through quickly, the backstory of how pop.vox.music began. And we're going to talk about all the releases that we've done over the years. I'm going to actually show them off physically here, and we're going to play a little clip from each one. Now, we've released a lot of music over the years, so I don't have time to play like an entire song from each one, or we'd be here all night. So what I've done is I've gone through and I've selected one track from each CD release that we've done, and I will play a portion of it. I figured we're going to go a minute or less of each one. So the way I chose the songs was songs that were, they got to, into the heart of the song relatively quickly. Anything, because sometimes you got a song where the intro is a minute and a half and we don't have time to get through that to get to the meat. So I picked songs specifically for how quickly they got to the meat of the song. So it'll be interesting to see how some of those were chosen. And I think that's it. With that, make sure you guys are commenting in the chat.
Tony wants to know, are we performing today? But you kind of just went over that.
Well, I did just kind of go over that, yes. We are performing in the sense that it took me a long time to put this together. Most of the time when I do these and I get all these wonderful artists in here and they perform and they do all this stuff, they do the bulk of that work and I just get to sit back, talk to them, and then they do all the stuff. Today, I had to put it all together myself. It was a lot more work this time, but I think it's going to be worth it, and it'll be a good sort of document of 23 years of pop.vox.music history. So before we get to our first release, just a little bit of backstory. I started doing shows, concerts, booking bands when I was in high school. I lived up in a little mountain community town called Big Bear, and it's in Southern California, but it's kind of far away from a lot of, the entertainment stuff that goes on. There weren't a lot of bands that would come up at all. And so I set up a thing where at my church, we would bring bands up and we do these concert nights. And before I even got to college, I think we'd done, 4 or 5 of them at our church there. And I was always, any chance I got to was going down to shows off the mountain and trying to, get in touch with bands and that kind of thing. And so when I got to college, this continued. I went to college also in Southern California at Baylor University, met a lot of people there and started booking shows at the college. And while there, my roommate, Matt Moss, and I, who also became one of my best friends, and the two of us, both had an interest in music. Matt was in a band. I was booking bands, and we got to talking. And one of the years while we were at college, and this would have been we actually started the actual Pop.vox name in 1999, but we didn't officially release anything till 2000. That's why it's the 23rd year. But we actually made it together for an art project for a class that we were in together. And Matt did the visual design, although I, helped and looked over it with them, but he did the visual design for the first one, and I helped to get all the bands together. Matt knew a lot of bands as well, and we actually raised the money for the first release that we ever did by collecting trash from people in their dorms. We were called the Trash Twins, and we would go around with a big trash barrel between us, and we'd ask people to pay us $0.25 or more to take out their trash, and with that, we raised about $3,000, enough to release our first CD.
So you executive produced your own
That's right,
CD.
By collecting garbage from people. So it was
pretty impressive.
That was the first one. It used to cost more money to make CDs back then too. It was a novel idea for an independent person to do it. The smallest order of CDs you could do was 1,000, and that's what we wound up doing. Now you can do a lot smaller runs, which is nice, a little more practical since probably less people buy CDs now. But there's still a lot of places to get music. Anyway, that brings me to our first release. So we're going to start out with this. The first release that we put together is called Vaudeville Theater. You can see the cover there. It's a little shiny. I'm sure you all already have copies of all these, but I'm just showing, for the record. Here's the back cover there with the origin of the famous pop.vox.music logo there. Of course, like I said, Matt Moss designed all of this stuff. He kind of used the art style a bit of like Pierre Mondrian. Matt was an art major, and I learned a lot about art and artists from him and graphic design, so very cool. And FYI, the pop.vox font, little spoiler, a little inside info, Century Gothic.
Century Gothic.
Century Gothic.
We all used Century Gothic in college.
Yeah, that was because of Matt Moss. So anyway, this compilation is awesome. It was one of those things where like we had a few bands that were friends with us. We'd ask people like, hey, you guys want to be on this compilation? And the more interest we got, we'd go to like bigger bands and say, well, these bands are doing it, will you do it? And it kind of snowballed, and we got some pretty good releases. We actually got bands, for instance, Fold Zandura and Bon Voyage, who are on Tooth and Nail Records, which is pretty cool. We got some bands from our good friends Jeff Cloud with Velvet Blue Music. Let us use Fine China and Battered Fish, which is pretty cool. Echoing Green is on here. Who else are bigger names that we got? Upside Down Room, who was on Tooth and Nail. Of course, The Spivvies, which was friends of mine. I'd actually been doing shows with them since high school. And that's the song we're actually going to feature from this right here. There's 18 tracks, including a hidden track. And there's a lot of amazing stuff on here. But I figured I had to pick one that would like represent it. And since the Spivvies are still good friends of ours, and at one point I actually got to join the band and was in the band playing bass for about a year. So I figured that would be a fun one to play.
Yay.
So the first one we're going to do is the Spivvies from Vaudeville Theater. And it's called Motorpsycho. Here we go. Love to do the whole song, and I told Janelle you're gonna have to keep me from playing the whole song because we just don't have time.
Yes,
we got time for snippets. If you want to hear more, a lot of the songs that we're gonna play are available on streaming as well, or you can buy CDs at pop.vox.music.com. This album, it was like a huge milestone, really, really big moment. It changed everything. This was like the start of pop.vox music. Like I said, it came out in 2000, although we began all the workings of it in 1999, but it was a long project to put together. A couple other highlights that are on here. Our friend Steve from Biola, also his band Torn in Two is on here. Javert that's on here. Chris Ferris went on to be in the Devious Means, which you may have heard us mention over the years. Great band. August Moons is Eric Kennedy, who we've had August Moons on the show here.
He's watching right now.
I'm sure. Oh, he is. Welcome, yes. Eric. This was an exclusive track. A lot of the songs we got on here were exclusive and made just for this compilation, which is cool. So Eric's still going strong. He's done Paravel. He's done Lonely Birds, which is the Freezer Burn Continuum, and his solo project, Eric EK, etc. You guys know Eric because he's on the show a lot, and we love Eric. So he has been there since the very beginning. Upside Down Room, like I mentioned, we'll see some more releases with them later. And these Spivvies that we just heard, fantastic. Also of note on here, the last official band is 78 Rally, which was Matt Moss' band at the time. Matt, again, who started it with me. He has since gone on to be in the Cold War Kids, which is a big national touring band. So many of you probably heard of them. And
I heard their song in 7-Eleven when I was
in 7-Eleven.
Slurpees.
There you go. They're everywhere. So many good bands. I don't have time to go through everything on here because we do need to move along. But this is like the beginning of history. It's also the last one where Matt and I like partnered on it. Matt would actually go on to help design the next few of them, but Matt was going on to other things. He was an art major, and I was doing my own thing with radio, television, film, and so it wasn't like a bad thing. It just, I decided, hey, I'm going to keep doing this and make this a record label, and so I continued to do it, and Matt was still my roommate, but he did help design the next few albums, which I'll point out the ones that he did. So, awesome. Matt, if you're out there, what's up? And let's hang out again soon. We were just actually texting, so it's good. Good times. We love Matt. So that's it. That's it for number one. Now let's go to the second release. This is a couple years later, actually. It took a little bit of time. Again, this was a huge project. 2002 was how long it took to get to the second release. We actually did two in 2002, so this one was at the beginning of the year. And the next one is called Radium. The band is Radium. Here's the album cover. Again, another Matt Moss design there. He started designing it under the name of Cold War Kids for his graphic design, which is cool. You'll see that on there. And then eventually that became the name of the band as well. So Radium, really cool band. Joey Anderson, he had been in another band called Unchained, which I'd seen play a couple times. And he was starting up a new band. And I was like, got in touch with him. He was actually playing in Folds Andura a lot during the time, and I booked a lot of shows with them. So we connected and wound up putting this album together. It was recorded and produced by Jerome from Folds Andura, and it's pretty great. It's an excellent album. I'm going to play a clip now and then talk about it a little bit more. So this next one, it's the first track off of the EP. I guess it's a full album, but it's only like 8 tracks, but they're long, so it's an album. First one is called Fires on the Mind. Here we go with Radium. This is going to be really hard to not just listen to it all. And I'll tell you, it's fun. When I was going together and putting the stuff together for the show tonight, I'm really proud of what we've made. We've helped facilitate a lot of really good music over the years that I'm very proud of. And there's just so many great independent artists, and I hope some of them are listening tonight. In fact, it looks like we have gotten some comments from people who are listening, and some people maybe from bands. What do we got there, Janelle?
So, I mentioned Eric, of course.
Yes, August Moons, Paravel, etc.
We have Tony.
Tony will be featured later on. Yes.
August Moons commented.
Sweet.
Daryl Mitchell.
Daryl, we're going to be talking. We already mentioned briefly Upside Down Room, but we're going to talk quite a bit more about Daryl's projects in a little bit here.
Yes. And Matt did a song.
Oh, yeah, Matt.
The most recent.
Excellent.
So.
Yes, thank you guys all for joining us and for doing great music over the years. Well, let's move along here. So Radium, fantastic album. And one thing I wanted to mention with this one too, actually, I should have mentioned in the first one, the first 7 releases on pop.vox.music had something that's kind of unique to like the physical medium of CDs, which is they all have a hidden track, not at the end of the CD, but actually hidden before the first track of the album. And it's something that, like, if you pop a CD in, like if you were to put Radium in right now and put it on your computer, it'll never pop up unless you have like the mastering software to get it out.
Has to be old school.
Has to be like an old school CD player. And what you have to do is put it in and you press rewind on the CD player and hold rewind, and it'll actually rewind into the negative space before the first track. It'll count down into negative numbers, and there's hidden tracks there for the first 7 releases that we did. Eventually, it became cost prohibitive to actually do that because mastering was going up in price, and we couldn't afford to do it after track number 7. So those are kind of special ones there. So I recommend you check them out. For instance, on the Radium one, it's a cool like electronic remix of one of the songs that's on here. So
I have a quick story about this CD.
Yes, Janelle,
I'm coming
please.
in. All right, so you were at Yellowstone National Park with your family.
That's right.
For this release. And our good friend Jeff had a truck, and I had arranged with him. You like gave me the check, I think, to pick it up. Yep. I don't know how it worked. I brought like a check down there to the warehouse. They loaded up all these boxes because 1,000 CDs is a lot of boxes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so happy I could help you out. But look, I was like a huge part of that.
You were? No, that's huge.
You were at Yellowstone.
I know. I found out we were going to be...
A park I still haven't been to.
We need to rectify that soon. But yes, you guys went and picked it up because I found out I was going to be gone on vacation by the time it was done. It was a long process back then, too.
It did take a long time.
So anyway, you did. You saved the day. You went and picked up the CDs. Now, later on, speaking of Janelle's involvement, later on that same year, we had our 3rd release. And here we go. This is it. It's called Our Ladies of Independent Rock is the full title. And another one designed by Matt Moss there. It looks great. And what this one is, I intended this to be like a split CD, right? There's actually only 4 artists on it, and each artist has 3 songs on it, right? So a total of 12 songs. And it's like a split CD, each one featuring female vocals. And I thought that would be a cool way to feature it. People looked at it more as a compilation, and I guess at the end it kind of is a compilation. But, to me, it's a little more...
You were really into
theme.
Splits.
Yeah, I was just trying new cool things. And, one of the things when Matt and I founded pop.vox.music is it wasn't just about music. It was all, visual arts, obviously Matt doing graphic design and stuff. We did, we sponsored art shows. We actually brought bands out and did a fashion show one time. We did like live performance art with people doing like tricks and magic shows. And, we just wanted to kind of celebrate art in general. And so, I don't know, I liked experimenting with the medium as much as possible. So, Our Ladies of Independent Rock came out 2002, and this was the first appearance of Janelle on one of the CDs.
There I am.
Because our band is actually on here. The Valets is the first 3 tracks. And in fact, if you are a frequent viewer of Pop.vox Presents, this show, the opening and closing music that I play on this show are clips from the first track on the album here. And it's our Valet song, so... that's what it's on there. And Matt V, yes, who was in the chat there, he played the opening bit on this album. A lot of cool stuff. We also had Pop.vox Worship, which is sort of like our worship project with other folks that we had done. Our friend Rachel actually sang on that. And who also was in the Devious Means. Jennifer Kendall, who was a student at Biola and a friend of ours, did some songs. And then this was this is the first time I ever flew out and went to meet a band and write a contract with everything. It was pretty exciting. Moss Eisley appears on here, which is now just known as Eisley, and they've had a really good run doing music. This was their first.
They were just
beginning. Yeah, we had to sign the contract with the dad because they were still all in high school. They had just done CDR releases. This was their first official release. So it's kind of a cool piece of history. The versions of here are unique to this album, but you'll hear these songs on other recordings they release later. So what we're going to play tonight, though, is we're going to do a clip from the Our Ladies. Our Ladies, that's the name of this. We're going to do a clip from Pop.vox Worship with Rachel singing, and this song is called Reminder. So let's check it out. back in here. Excellent, fun stuff there. It's kind of a wide variety of music on that one. It's another significant thing about this one is my brother David actually helped record quite a bit of it, was a major contributor to making this album happen. So that was kind of his early foray into Pop Vox. I think this is the first time that he worked on a project with us, was on this one as well.
It's a family affair.
It is. It always has been. So Matt Moss designed that one as well, like I said. And the next one that we released is actually the last one that he designed because, again, like I said, he went on to do a big band and all kinds of cool stuff. So we branched out in other ways. But this one was our first Christmas release. This is Pop Vox 4. And you notice we have like the little metrics numbers here. I don't know if I can, or I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. All right, I can't get it to focus on there. But on the spine of all of them, this one is Vox 4. They all start with Vox and then the number. They're all labeled like that. So this is Pop Vox Christmas, Volume 1. It's a 10-track compilation of different artists and doing Christmas. I love Christmas music. This one came out in 2003. Some highlights. We have also the Valets and Pop Vox Worship that were on the last one we just mentioned, and Jen Kendall. Paravel. This was the first appearance of Paravel on a Pop Vox album. Obviously, we had Eric Kennedy and August Moons before that, but this was Paravel. Also, the first appearance of Ann Lynn, which you'll hear us mention a little bit later on. And one of the rare things on this one, I'll give you guys another peek behind the scenes. There's a track on here called by the band TM North Star, which is the only time on any Pop Vox release you'll hear me singing. I've played instruments on a lot of things, but it's the one time you'll hear my voice. Well, I guess I did shout background vocals in that one 78 Rally song. Other than that, though, you can't really hear me distinctly. So that's a little sneak peek there. I don't tell people that very often, but now everyone knows. So for this one, it's Christmas. I realize it's we're recording this not at Christmas time, but it's always time for Christmas music. So for this one, we're going to play a track from a good friend of ours, J. David Anderson, who did a really awesome kind of acoustic instrumental version of God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. So Merry Christmas in May. Here's J. David Anderson. He's so talented. He needs to record more stuff. If you're listening out there, J. David, get on that. So that was our Christmas album. First one. You'll hear more Christmas stuff a little bit later. Super cool. I loved it. It was well, anyway, there was a lot of good memories with that one because I just love Christmas music. And well, you'll see. We'll have more of that come up later. The one song on here I wanted to mention too. That I actually recorded the one of Ann Lynn, and there's a great little clip on there. I was working at a church at the time, and I had Josh from Ann Lynn come in and record this. I had like this old beat up amplifier and a little like recording like tape deck, and I had him record just a microphone into that thing, and it sounds so good. Like it sounds like we meant to do it, but it's just so like, junky. And at the end, one of the older gentlemen who went to the church came in and like sat and listened for the last part of the song, and he's like, oh, it's a wonderful thing to hear. I can't remember exactly what he says, but he commented on it, and I actually like left that in the recording, so if you listen closely at the end you can hear him talking there. I just thought that was a fun little bit. He was like so excited that this was happening, so it's a great little recording. Anyway, fantastic stuff on there. And one last thing, there's a band on there called Drop Everything, which was Reese Lemon, who was also involved in August Moons, and this was like a project of his. And I always just thought it was funny because the song that they recorded by Drop Everything was called We Held Him, about like holding the baby Jesus, which is just a funny, ironic song for a band called Drop Everything. So I don't think they meant that on purpose, but I always found that entertaining. So there you go. Up next, Vox 5. So we jump forward a little bit in time here. Let's see. This one was in 2005. And we have Ann Lynn. This was their first EP. and they probably of the albums that we have released got the most, I would say, celebrated like award winning stuff. They actually entered a bunch of like song contests and won some awards for the song that we're going to play in a moment here. Josh Poole and Matt Poole and lots of other friends that we know from Big Bear were involved in this, and it's just great. Josh is very talented, and the whole band just really, really cool guys. I got to be there while they were recording this album in the studio, and they recorded it at this little studio down in, I want to say, somewhere in Orange County. And it was, and this guy is really talented, but he also was operating the studio in like the garage behind his sister's house, and he did not have access to the house. So bands that recorded there, this is gross. I'm warning everyone now, this is gross. They didn't have access to the bathroom. So if you had to go to the bathroom while you were there, he had all these like empty water bottles, and he would just throw them in the dumpster out in the back when they're done. And it was nasty. Man, that guy knew how to record stuff though, and it sounds good, but that's what sometimes independent musicians have to go through.
Not a lot of female artists.
I guess not. There weren't any while we were there for this one. So, yeah, he definitely had a limited audience, but gross. Any stuff going on over here? I see things popping up.
Our children who comment at me, said
yes.
We love Pop Vox. And that's about it for now.
Okay, I see other stuff for later. That's good. That's
yes.
good. Excellent. Well, let's do a clip of Ann Lynn. This is it's actually the second track off the CD, but this is their award-winning song called "The Scene." Let it go too long there. It's so hard to do this, you guys, because I just love this music so much. But we're gonna have to go through and just hear the clips. I encourage you guys to listen to more. Pull out your copies of the CDs if you got them. Find them on streaming, whatever. I think, let's see, the Ann Lynn is the first one that we got on streaming. The older ones, it was kind of early on in those years. I suppose I could have been even more ahead of the time, but that was the first one that's available on, general streaming sites and everything. So then let's see, after that's pretty much it for this one, but we've got more Ann Lynn coming up, so keep an eye out. Up next, we have Vox 6, our sixth release. This was in 2007, and it's Paravel. Let's see, there you go. It's kind of hard reflection there, but you can see it's a really cool artwork there. I always love the artwork on this one. And we have been friends, like I said. Eric has been a part of pop.vox.music since album 1, and so this was his new band after August Moons, and of course it was just a matter of time before we did a full album with them. And I guess this is, they released other stuff as Paravel, but this was their only full-length Paravel release. So although, I always hold out hope. You never know what bands are going to come back and do more, but it's really, really good. I have loved seeing Eric play live for a long time. The first time I saw him, I was still in high school, so I've been following his music for a long, long time now. A lot of great songs on this album. It was tough to pick. And again, the way that I picked these songs, a lot of them was songs that you kind of get to the meat of it right away, and ones that I like a lot. So This album, I picked the song Comet, so we're going to jump into it now and listen for that signature Eric Kennedy singing. Here we go. This is Comet by Paravel.
Look into my eyes, tell me what you see, 'cause I'm not sure I know what's happening to me. Like calling you the sun, it starts to break apart. Oh, the nearer I'm to you, the more you change my heart.
Oh, I love it. It's really, really, really hard to do this, Janelle.
I know.
I mean, I could seriously do an hour-long talk about each one of these albums and go into the history of it very much deeper. And
Maybe you will.
And maybe I
Each
will.
artist.
Maybe so. Maybe this is just the overview, and I need to do that at some point. But for today, in order to make this in any kind of a reasonable amount of time, we got to move on. But we do have a couple comments that we want to touch on real quick. What do we got there, Janelle?
So Paravel commented, "Thank you for giving Paravel our only full-length album."
Yes, excellent, excellent. Thank you for releasing it with us.
Garrett says, "Reminds me a bit of Eden Burning." This was about
And that would be the Ann Lynn song. I could definitely see that comparison there, at least on that track.
EK said it was really fun to record that one.
Excellent. Eric
he also loves Ann Lynn's sound.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure we had them play at the same show at least a couple of times. Paravel and Ann Lynn.
And he put some lyrics there from the song you played in the comic.
Oh,
Comments
nice.
in case you want to see them.
Yes. Oh, wait. Like, you want me to read them? Or
No, I'm just saying.
He puts them in there. Okay, I gotcha. A couple of other fun things about this album. I love it a lot. And when we were putting it together, it's just a funny behind the scenes story. Eric included the lyrics in the liner notes here, and I'm gonna read it here. So there was just a really fun typo in it. Do you remember what it was?
I do not.
Well, okay. So one of the lines is "the purest of lovers is now holding me," and the typo in it, it's not in here, but they sent it to me and then we go over it and look for typos and everything. And the way that it was spelled in there was "the purest," IST, as in someone who's very particular, of livers is now holding me. And
the purest of livers.
I know it's so silly, but it was one of my favorite typo catches of all time. So I don't think that's what he's actually singing about, someone who's particular about their liver and onions. But that is what was in the lyrics before we proofread. So excellent. Just a funny little behind the scenes thing there. Love you, Eric, and Paravel is a great band. And we'll hear more from them in a moment, because the next one, Vox 7, our 7th release in 2007, was Pop.vox Christmas Volume 2. It's kind of hard to see. There you go. I think I got a pretty good angle there. This actually came out the same year as that one, and Paravel is on here along with Ann Lynn. It's a compilation of course, a lot of bands. Some other highlights here. We've got Ohm's Law, which we've done a lot of stuff with over the years. Tim Koza, who's gone by a lot of different band names over the years. Most recently, you know him as Rainhouse, but he's done other stuff with us as well. And let's see what else. We have a Valet song on here. We've got a song by my dad, which is pretty exciting, and we're going to listen in a moment to that one, actually. Another one by Ander, which is some friends of ours, Josh and Rachel, which is great. So much good stuff on here. Slings. We've got, I know, another one is The Perfect Cry, which is Hugh Vanderlinden, who now is in the band The PH Project, who's been on the Pop.vox Presents show. I'm sure I'm forgetting some connections here. Norway, who was on Plastic Music and Tooth and Nail for a while. This was the last song he recorded is Norway. I mean, I'm hoping someday he does that again, but he hasn't yet. A lot of great songs on here. Son of Heatwave. Gosh, I really love this album. Racing at 19. Oh, here's another one. Christopher, who's in Racing at 19, also involved in Paravel, and now is in his new thing, and it's called Life Is My Soundtrack, which is huge, and he does like kind of instrumental and ambient music and stuff, so you can check him out now as well. So a lot of cool people involved in this, but I thought it would be fun to feature since a lot of times, like I said, and like you said, Pop Vox music is about family. We got a track on here from my dad, and this was a really special thing. My brother David and I recorded my dad in like the downstairs bedroom in our house to do this song, and it's pretty cool. So we're going to hear a little snippet of Away in the Manger by Tony Vecchio. Here we go.
Away in a manger, no crib for a man. The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay.
Pretty cool. That was such a special one to get to have my dad on an album. Pretty cool. Two more things about Pop Vox Christmas Volume 2. One is the design of it was done by our good friend Rachel, and she did a great job on it. So very cool. And two, this is, like I said, number 7 release. It's the last one that has one of those special hidden tracks on there. From then on, we went to different mastering and also different manufacturing stuff. So it was also the last one where we had 1,000 copies printed. We've always done a little bit shorter runs after that, just to keep less stuff to have to store out in the garage. Not that I have like tons of them or anything, but if you guys need a copy of any of these, it's still available.
You know where to find
some of them.
it.
Some of our albums are more available than others, so keep that in mind. So up next, we go to 2010, and we have the release by Ann Lim, their second release, Odds and Ends. And this is such a fun one. It's I had to really wrestle Josh Poole to put this out because he's very much an artist, and he'd recorded all this stuff, and he's like, oh, I just think any of it's ready to release. And I was like, you got to let me put something out there. He's playing shows, and I wanted him to have new, it'd been 5 years since the last release that he did. And so they had done like 3 or 4 different recording sessions, and they had basically like a small EP worth of stuff from each one. And I said, let's put them all together. It'll be a nice snapshot of like your progression over the years. And so there's 13 tracks, and they span like a number of years of recordings, but it really all flows together well. I really love it, and I'm glad that he let me do it. This is actually the last release he did is Ann Lin, and he's a worship pastor now, and he's still doing music and stuff, but he hasn't done anything as Ann Lin since this. So hopefully someday he will. But right now, let's listen to Treasures by Ann Lin. Fantastic. So I'm so glad we got to release that one. It's really, really good. This is probably one that we have fewer copies of, so just FYI. That one is a little harder to come by. We did get a comment here, by the way, left over from the Christmas one. What does it say, Janelle?
Tony says, great singer on Away in a Manger.
Yes, very good. Very good. That Tony.
Daryl just commented such great music by Ann Lynn.
Right?
There, so
oh my gosh. Like I said, I am really proud of like all the different artists we've gotten to work with over the years. It's been like a real privilege and honor to get to meet and know and help and work alongside so many really cool artists. So speaking of Daryl, who just commented, our next release is directly related to Daryl, because after that we have Vox 9 Upside Down Room's TV Baby. Now, I have a very special history with Upside Down Room. First of all, started doing shows with them, helped them out booking shows. I think the first one was like senior year of high school, did stuff at Biola with them, did tons of shows with them throughout the years, and eventually at one point, for, I don't know, about a year or so, got to join the band as a second guitar player for a little while, and oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Got to do a bunch of shows with them, and it was a real honor, because like I had always loved Upside Down Room, and so to get to be in yet another band, first the Spivvies and then Upside Down Room, that I just loved, and it was super, super cool. And so eventually they kept playing, and we moved out here, and it just they kept going on their own direction, but we still were doing stuff together, and they asked if we would do some releases with them. So the first thing that we did was this. It's actually a re-release of an EP they did. I think it was 1998 was the original release of it, but it was pretty hard to come by. And, by that time it had been, over 10 years. And so a lot of people wanted to hear it. It's a great EP. And so what we did is we did a re-release of it, but it includes 2 bonus tracks that were not on the original. And it's really good. Actually, the artwork was recreated from the original stuff by our friend Rachel, who did some of the other stuff I mentioned earlier. And she did a great job. So if you look closely at the covers, you'll see it's the same basic layout, but there's slight differences, so you can tell the difference between the two, not to mention the different copyright information and all that. So Upside Down Room is amazing. They've been rocking for forever, and they were on Tooth and Nail for a while, and just all around super great guys. And so we're going to start with this first one. We're going to listen to the title track off of the EP. Let's listen a little bit to TV Baby. No one does punk rock like Upside Down Room. It's so good, just so, yes, I love it. It's I don't know how to describe it other than it's something that I've just really been into since, like, I think I got the first Upside Down Room EP probably my freshman year of high school, and man, it's good stuff. And speaking of Upside Down Room, right after that we did another release. This is our 10th release, and we did a brand new EP, brand new at the time EP with them. It's called Let's Go for a Ride. It has some classics, for instance, like Fire Below, that was on the first Vaudeville Theater compilation CD we did. They re-recorded it for this, and some other ones they've been playing quite a bit. It's fantastic EP, and it actually has their new drummer, Audra, on it. And man, it's good stuff. Rachel, again, did the artwork for us on this one. And so we're going to jump right into the next Upside Down Room song. This is called Wrong Number.
She
Excellent. So good. It was like such an honor to be a part of releasing what is, I mean, as of right now, the last like new material Upside Down Room is recorded. You never know. I know I have high hopes because we've actually done a re-release of both of these two on vinyl, which we'll get to in a little bit when we talk about vinyl releases. But both of those Upside Down Room releases have been available on vinyl for a little bit now. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Awesome. And thank you to Daryl for being a part of the room here, because the next release also involves Daryl. This is a project that I was super stoked on. The next one, our 11th release, is called In a Lonely Place, is the band, and the album is In My Mind. There we go. There's an angle over there. This is super cool. Daryl has been doing In a Lonely Place for a long time, before Upside Down Room, and it's really cool. Sort of some instrumental ambient stuff, but also kind of dark beats, moody. I'm not really like a music journalist, so I don't know all the right things to describe it, but I know when I hear it and it's good. It is it's so cool. I first heard In a Lonely Place on Velvet Blue Music compilations. Jeff Cloud would put like a song by In a Lonely Place at the end of like every compilation, which I always thought was cool. And then they did a full release on Velvet Blue Music. And then later on, Daryl contacted me and said, hey, let's do one with pop.vox.music. So there's some really, really great stuff on this album. Some lots of cool moods. And in fact, at one point, my brother Matt, who does a Room Escape, used the CD here to make the soundtrack for one of their rooms, and the CD was available for sale there. I don't know, it probably still is. Maybe. We'll have to ask him and see if it is. But pretty cool. And, we got a comment. Oh, my goodness.
I know.
That's amazing. I've got a great comment in the chat here. Miss Barr, Patty Barr, who is like the most amazing PE teacher ever. It's so random. I'm so glad that you're here. That is awesome. Since Miss Barr is here, I will tell you guys, favorite PE teacher, and it was in high school. And one of the things we had to do was to keep a journal in PE. This is a sidetrack here, but it's worth it. We had to keep a journal in PE, write down the stuff we were doing each day. And I like to write and I like to entertain people. And so basically she said we could write whatever as long as we cover the stuff that we did. And so I would write really long, ridiculous entries like comedy bits and dumb jokes and just whatever, all kinds of stuff. And she would write back, write notes into it and stuff as I'd turn it in. I still have those journals, by the way. I think each semester was like a whole entire like 3-ring binder full, or no, like a spiral bound, pet thing of all my great stuff I wrote back and forth with Miss Barr. Thank you so much for being here. That's amazing. That's like my world's colliding.
Us teachers appreciate a kid with a sense of humor.
Well, kids appreciate a teacher with a sense of humor too. So fantastic. And thanks for being here. All right, well, back to the music. So we have In a Lonely Place, like I said, Daryl, and we're going to play, actually, this is a fun one here. It's a cover that he has on the In a Lonely Place album of an Upside Down Room song, which is Milk Money, and we're going to play a little bit of that right now. So here we go with In a Lonely Place, Milk Money. Love it. We got some comments over here. What did Garrett say?
Garrett said, yes, I love In a Lonely Place. But yes, with like an exclamation
Yes,
point.
I do too. So good. And this In a Lonely Place album is also available on vinyl, which we'll talk again a little bit about our vinyl releases. And any other comments over there?
Oh, Miss Barr responded.
What did she say?
She said, LOL. My pleasure.
Excellent.
She liked that she entertained you.
Very much so. That absolutely. Like I said, I still have those journals and enjoy flipping through them every once in a while because it's fun stuff.
Of course, you still have
Of
your
course.
journals.
Hey, that's some good writing in there. That is a piece of history. And speaking of history, our next release, this was our 12th release and came out in 2015, and it is Vaudeville Theater Volume 2. Now, you notice here, it's kind of similar to the first one, but what I did is I actually kind of took Matt Moss' original artwork and I just inverted everything and made it my own kind of mirror version of it. So I gave Matt credit for the original design and the artwork, don't worry, but I just kind of flipped it and added it. And so what this is, it's sort of a retrospective. It's a best of, so it's got songs from all the original, the first releases before it. Not all the compilations, but, the full releases. And then it's also got new stuff from different artists who were involved over the years, and then some other ones that we're going to work with in the future. So it's got like all that stuff we said before, like Radium and Ann Lynn and Paravel, Upside Down Room, and A Lonely Place. It's also got new tracks from August Moons, Radium, and Paravel, all unheard of before. It's got a Valet song, which is actually we're going to listen to in just a moment. Some other stuff, Radio Relay League, which was Tim from Ohm's Law, and some other new artists up and coming, Century, which we'll talk about in a bit, Be As Bridgie, lots of great stuff on here. But the one we're going to listen to right now is a remix that we put together from the Valets, which is our band, Janelle and I. Mm-hmm. And the special thing about this is that this is the first time I ever recorded stuff with our kids on the album. They contributed some keyboards, some recorder sounds, and some vocals. You're not going to hear all of it right now, but you'll hear a little clip of it. So it's pretty special. This is the first recording with their kids. This is the Valets, and the song is called Without You. Remix. Excellent. Good job, Janelle. Heard some of your vocals in there. And again, really special to get to have our kids on that one. So,
yes.
Pretty cool. Any comments over there, Janelle? I think I saw something pop up.
Speaking of our kids, they said we will have a lot to listen to after this live stream.
Yes. Now, they've listened to this all before, but it's a good reminder, once again, and I guess it sounds like I'm bragging a little bit, but I am bragging on behalf of all the artists we work with. Like, I'm so proud of so much of the music, of all of the music we put out. Like, it's just excellent. So many amazing artists that we've gotten to be a part of, so.
Eric has a question for you.
Okay, question.
He said, were there any albums that you wish you could have made that you just weren't able to make happen?
Ooh, that is a good question. I mean, there's a lot of stuff over the years that I've, tried to make happen and wanted to. A lot of bands that we've worked with that I was hoping would put out more stuff and that didn't, I mean, I always want more because I love it. But we actually recorded demos for, I won't call the band out because I don't know if it's like traumatic to them or not, but there was a band we were recording, we had already done the demos and we're starting the full recording and they wound up breaking up during the process. And so the album got scrapped, which is a bummer. But other than that, I mean, just, I always wanted the Spivvies to do another album and we're still working on that.
That could still happen.
That's still in the works. And I guess that's one of the to be continued things. And, we had them come on the show not too long ago, but they actually recorded an EP that has never been released. And our plan is to put it out at some point here. So it's just a matter of twisting arms and getting everybody to get on board here. So we'll get there though. I don't know. Other than that, I think just, always wanting all the bands to last longer and put out more stuff. So, we always wanted that second Paravel album, more Ann Lynn, more Radium, more Upside, more everybody, everyone. So if you're a band out there and you want to put out more stuff, let us know because I want to put it out.
I would say more J. David Anderson.
Ooh, yes.
A+B.
That's a big one.
It's hard. They'll put a song out here and there.
Yes.
But they need a full album.
We need a full album from them because they've had stuff on a lot of compilations and have never been able to ring out a full album from them. Yeah.
That's
true. Well, okay, so that was Pop.vox 12. Volume Vox 12. That was our 15th anniversary celebration, and on there, the last track on there is it was a song by the Breno Man All Stars called "Awake at Dawn," and we actually then the next release was intended to be their full EP, which is something I was involved with, a friend of ours named Brendan, and through a series of things, this was supposed to be Vox 13. It got delayed, and it got delayed, and it got delayed. And so we saved that Vox 13, that number there for it, the catalog number, but it didn't come out yet. And believe it or not, it took this long. It was supposed to come out in 2016, and we actually just finally released the digital version a couple weeks ago, and the CDs for it will be available later this year. I think in July is when they'll be available. So we're actually going to play a clip from it, and you'll see I just got a picture of the cover of the EP. It's called Complexities, and because we don't have the CDs physically yet, but you can hear a clip of it here. It's kind of an electronic experimental. This one's very much like sort of in the ambient range. There's some of it's a little more beat driven, but here we go. Here's Breno Man All Stars with Complexities. Oh, that's the album. Awake at Dawn, that's the song. As I mentioned, the rest of the album that's probably like the most mellow song. There's a lot more like beats and stuff. There's not a lot of vocals. It's mostly instrumental, but some really good stuff. Fun fact about the that EP is that the entire thing was performed on a Nintendo DS. So all the sounds you hear, even the vocals, were recorded through the microphone on a DS. So pretty cool. So that's going to be available. Like I said, it's on streaming right now, but that'll be available on CD later this summer. So it's like an old release, but it's a new release. It's copyright 2023, but it's Vox 13. So there you go. Place it where you will. Complicated history of Pop.vox music. Up next, this is super cool. I made a really cool connection, actually through Facebook, with a guy named R.B. Brown, who was an original member of the band Sal Paradise. Sal Paradise was on Tooth and Nail Records. They are from Australia and actually started out as the name was The Crux when they're in Australia. When they released an album in the United States with Tooth and Nail, they had to change the name because they already had a band just called Crux. So to avoid, confusion, they changed the name to Sal Paradise. Love that album. Then later on, Sal Paradise did a release on Velvet Blue Music, once again, Jeff Cloud's label. And so I love all of their music. And I just kind of through talking about Sal Paradise on Facebook, made a connection with R.B. Brown, who was in the band, and we got to talking, and he mentioned that he had recorded some solo projects, and I was like, man, I would love to hear that, and he sent me out like a CDR of it, and we got to talking, and eventually, because this is what I do, I convinced them to let me release it because it's so good. So we put out this EP. It's not an EP, it's 9 songs. I'm gonna keep saying EP. This album, it's called 6. Here's the album here. You got my computer reflection in there. It's get a better angle of it there. Yeah, this one's really reflecty. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
And I did the artwork actually on this one, believe it or not, except that my brother designed I guess I did the layout. He designed the bird and the moon and all that, and I did the layout for the album. But very, very cool project. He's very talented, and if you're a fan of Sal Paradise, you'll hear some of it in this one, maybe even a little more in a later release, but you'll definitely hear snippets of it all the way from Australia. This is R.B. Brown, and the track off of this one is called My Love. Is there something I need to say before it?
Well, Garrett had a question about the last.
Garrett wants to know if I'm doing a pre-order for that. We will have it up for a pre-order, yes. Probably within the next week or so. We'll do a pre-order, and they'll ship sometime late in in July. So, yes, we will do that. We'll... I'll mention. I'll send you a link there.
Yay!
Garrett. By the way, we've mentioned Garrett before on the show, but Garrett is a fantastic. He does the crowdfunding Christian music. He has a podcast about it, which is called the Good Patron Podcast. He also has a group on Facebook about all kinds of crowdfunding projects for Christian music artists and stuff. And I found a lot of good artists through there, and gotten some really cool releases. So I highly recommend you check out his stuff. Okay, with that, let's jump over to R.B. Brown. The album is 6, and the song is My Love.
With a pen in my hand, and I pray like a pauper that you'd understand my love, my love. Try to remember, I never can forget the lies that we told. I don't want to regret my love, my love. You brought it to me, you took it from me.
So good. I'm just continually blown away by the caliber of artists that have been, willing to work with us and release stuff. R.B. Brown is so great. If you guys are followers of Pop.vox Presents, you've seen him. We've had him on the show. We've had him on a couple Blue Christmases and one solo one, I think. He's been on here a couple times anyway. He's fantastically talented. And it's so cool to have someone all the way from Australia, directly involved with the label. So that album he actually recorded. I think it's, I'm gonna cheat here and look inside the liner notes. Always read your liner notes, folks. There's a lot of good information in there. That's why we still do physical stuff. 1997. So he recorded this solo project in 97 and just never did anything with it. And I was so excited to have him release it. But then shortly thereafter, he was working on a new solo project. And also he let us release this one as well. This was our 15th release, and it's called Touch. Again, my brother and I collaborated on I did some of the layout. He did the artwork there, and it's very cool. Also, really hard to get a black-based cover to reflect well, but you get the idea here. This is his full solo project that's more recently released. It's fantastic. It's so good. You'll notice sort of a change. I mean, this one came out in 2020, so it was a difference of 23 years from when it was recorded. So you'll notice a change in style a bit, and it's almost like some Beatles-esque harmonies and stuff, or Beach Boys, depending on the song. It's phenomenal. He is so talented. And I can't wait for you to hear a little bit of it. This song that we're going to play from it is called Power. Here we go. so good. So good. Thank you to R.B. Brown for just letting us be involved with your music, because, man, is it good. And, you know, the crazy part is, I mean, I've done my best to get the name out, you know, because people here in the United States probably are most familiar with Sal Paradise, but I think he has, like, a really good following in Australia. He's very, like, humble about it, but I'm pretty sure, like...
His CDs do well.
His CDs do well there. Yeah, we'll say that. So it's really cool. It's really cool to be a part of that. Thank you to R.B. Brown. And you guys should definitely check them out. They are they deserve to be heard. They're fantastic.
And Phil, where can you buy R.B. Brown?
Well, obviously pop.vox.music.com is the place to go and buy stuff, right? Don't forget.
And they are available on
everything from like the 4th release on is available on streaming. If you listen on Spotify, Apple Music, you know, Amazon, YouTube, Google Music, almost everything is available on all of those. So anywhere you want to buy or stream, it's available there. But I also highly recommend the physical, because again, you know, those liner notes, there's a lot of value in there. There's great artwork inside, and you're not going to see on the main release, so, you know, on the digital release. So I recommend it. Plus, you also get such wonderful things as this next release. This is this came out in 2022, just last year. This is Pop.Vox Christmas Volume 3, because again, like I said, I love Christmas music. And you'll notice here that the front cover little drawings there, as well as on the back, are art from my kids. Our kids are very talented in a lot of ways, and it's super cool to have them involved anywhere that we can. So very proud of them for putting that together. So this is another compilation of Christmas music. A lot of amazing artists involved in here. Just some highlights. We do have an August Moons. Actually, Eric Kennedy is involved quite a bit. I think he has 3 tracks on here, if I'm not mistaken. August Moons, Eric E.K., and the Freezer Burn Continuum are on here. The Valets, we've got a track on here. Isopod, which is a great electronic band that we've done a lot of Blue Christmases with, out from Texas. Pacifico, who is actually, I'm wearing my Pacifico shirt today.
There.
It's hard to see because it's down below the camera, but there's my Pacifico shirt. Matthew Schwartz, who's out in Georgia, fantastic. The PH Project, who I mentioned, was on our last one. Well, as The Perfect Cry, Hugh and crew. He's a great band there. Also, let's see, my brother, I got my brother on here. I always like to get family in there. Elsewhere Blissful, and my brother and his wife, and our niece on that song. So a lot of fun. Life is My Soundtrack, as I mentioned earlier. Lost in January. So many great bands. Vic 20, awesome electronic artist who he was actually involved once upon a time with a Prodigal Sons electronic group, which I listened to a lot back in the day. Some really, really good stuff. Oh, Moonbeam Hollow was another family member that you might recognize in there. Anyway, a lot of good stuff on here. But the song that we're going to listen to off of Pop.Vox Christmas Volume 3, another, again, very special to me. This song is by a band called Life Show, and it's actually our kids, and they recorded it all on their own. Like, this is their song that they made. It's this little, it's short, so we're actually going to get to listen to the whole thing. And this is by Life Show, and the song is called Alpenglow. Let's check it out. So fun. I am very proud of our kids. As much as I am proud of how great all the music we work with, I mean, I'm a pretty proud dad, too, so you're gonna see that.
Mom.
And a proud mom, yes, I know. I'm telling the story, but Janelle's been along. I should have mentioned this, because we did talk about how you got the Radium, the 3rd CD you were on, but the Pop.Vox Christmas one was the first one we released after we got married.
Yes.
So only the first 3 are before we got married. The rest have been during marriage, so.
And I have executive producer credit on.
That's right.
Many.
Because someone's got to pay for these things, So that actually brings us to one final release here that we have numbered. This is Vox 17. And it's funny because the way that worked out takes a long time to put compilations together. So while this one was 16, it actually came out a little bit after 17 just because it took longer to get it together. But number 17 is by a band called the Breezy Williams. You can see I love the artwork here. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's like a UFO flying above them there. And some very, very cool artwork in this one here. The Breezy Williams, also from Australia. And I guess, this is exclusive. Don't tell anyone because it's a little bit of a secret. But R.B. Brown may or may not be involved with this release as well. And, oh my gosh, it's an EP, 5 songs. It is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. I want more people to hear this album. So please check it out. You heard, actually, at Blue Christmas this last year, R.B. Brown played a song off of this, like a kind of a piano remix version of it. And oh my gosh, it just gives me shivers. It's so good. So really, really, really love this release. This is the highest numbered release thus far, Vox 17, the Breezy Williams. And the song we're going to listen to is The Martians. Here we go.
Been poking around for hours trying to make these alien worlds alive. But the cosmos keeps its mysteries, and the secrets of its histories stay hidden from this troglodyte mind. And the stars are falling down like houses of cards.
Cannot recommend that EP enough, you guys. Please get your hands on a copy of it. It is so good, or listen to it streaming. It's great. The Breezy Williams, and I'm hoping to hear more from them because, oh my gosh, it's good. Now, that's the last numbered release, but we do have a few other things to cover. We're going to wrap it up pretty quick here. A couple of interesting side things, and then we're going to talk vinyl, and we're going to move on. I've got one last audio clip to play, though, and this is a kind of a, I don't know exactly where to fit this in. It's not a numbered release. It's by the band Sentry. I mentioned them. We had a song of theirs on the Vaudeville Theater Volume 2 EP, and I did a lot of shows with them and kind of helped them to get this album released. It wasn't like a full pop.vox release, but you'll notice that it does have the pop.vox.music logo on the back and such. So it was sort of, I don't know if you call it a co-release or whatever, but one way or another, we were involved in it. And so I wanted to play a little clip of that. This is one of those ones that is totally sold out. I don't have any more copies of it except my personal one. I think most of them I have some, although Upside Down Room is pretty low. I think I only have one copy left of the TV Baby and maybe a couple copies left of Let's Go for a Ride. So, get your hands on the physical media while you can. But we're going to play a song from Sentry. These guys, super great guys, Andrew Enos and Michael Landingham. They are in another band now, which Janelle's going to get the name because it's, oh shoot, I don't want to say the wrong name because
just let me look
Janelle's going to look it up. But they're in another band now and it's great. And they both have cool, successful solo careers as well. So let's check out Sentry. The song is Forest Fire.
Root choke out my heart. I try to love, but beer runs its blood. Hate masquerades as justice, but nothing can justify this sin.
good. Super good. Now, their band is Lion and Bear that they're still in. I knew it was a bear and a lion, but I wanted to make sure to say them in the right order. So it is Lion and Bear. Super good stuff. And I think they released their EP on Tooth and Nail pretty recently, if I'm not mistaken. So...
Beck?
Oh, BEC. So it's the Tooth and Nail, BEC, whatever. It's all the same company, just different branches of it. That's why I wasn't sure, but I knew it was one of the Brandon Evil ones there. So anyway, these guys are great. Check them out. This one may be on streaming, but we just helped with the physical release. We didn't do the streaming, so you'll have to check that out. We have a music video up on our YouTube channel, though, of a song from them as well. Janelle, we got any comments or something over here?
So Eric said, yeah, sounds so sweet to the not the RB Brown.
Breezy Williams.
Breezy Williams EP.
Yes.
But he said, all this talk of music is inspiring me.
Good. That's exactly what I want this to be, is inspiration. For people to create and maybe for people to buy stuff too, you know. Also, I just thought it would be really cool, kind of a snapshot, little document for us to look back on later and check it out.
You'll do another one in 23 years?
I guess so, yeah. It's been 23 years. I'm going to show just a couple more things off here because in addition to CD releases, we've done a few other types of releases. So, first of all...
Pop.vox.music has been more than just music.
That's right, more than just music. So here's an interesting one we did. We actually released a book in, I want to say it was 2015. Oh, 2011. Man, I was way off there. 2011, we did a comic book. This is, it's called Brax the Alien Rocker Presents Tales from Planet Earth Volume 1. And you'll notice here, instead of a regular, Vox 1 or 2, this is a Vox book here. There you go. So Brax Comics. It's a comic that I created, actually, but I figured what better way to release something than through my own label, right? So it is actually available on Amazon still. You can buy it on Amazon if you want to check out Brax the Alien Rocker. There are some music references in there that some people who are involved in the scene that I've been involved with might recognize that other people, might not have ever gotten. So, in fact, I'm pretty sure there's a Starflyer 59 mentioned within the first 3 comics. Let's see if I can spot it. Let's look there. Yep, right there. Starflyer 59, just to prove that it fits with the theme there. Let's see if you can see it there. There we go. See it? Starflyer 59. Just so you know, it's related. He's a rocker.
And if any of my past students are watching...
That's right.
I always use Brax the Alien Rocker to teach my students about dialogue.
Right, how to know when to put quotation marks, right?
You put in the bubble.
Whatever's in the bubble that goes in the quote. So it's a good tool, a teaching tool. So we also have done actually 4 vinyl releases over the years. So I'm going to show those off real quick. I don't have clips of them because you've already heard clips from some of them from their CD versions. But the first vinyl release we ever did, actually, a very unique one. Again, since we're not only about music, we did this one here. This is from a podcast that I was involved with at the time. Radio Brendo Man is the name of the podcast. We call this the Vinyl Countdown, and this is still, we actually hold the record, the first ever in the world in history vinyl, rather 7-inch release of a podcast. So it's a spoken word, not singing, it's just us talking on there, but it is here, and you can see for vinyl our little release numbers are VV, so Vox Vinyl. So this is VV1. Right there, but this is a spoken word one. It is available out there still, but it's just talking. It's not music, so be aware of what it is. But then we also have done 3 12-inch releases, and these have all been in partnership, as you'll see, with Daryl Mitchell, because the first one we did was a vinyl release of In a Lonely Place, and it's a slightly different track listing than the CD, although it's mostly there, but it's a little bit rearranged and stuff in order to fit it on vinyl. It needed to be. But it's really fantastic. It looks great. I'm not going to pull it all out right now, but the Vinyl Countdown, by the way, was red vinyl. The rest of these are all black vinyl. This colored vinyl is very expensive. But there you go. The redesigned artwork, slightly different, so you can identify it on Discogs if you're looking on there. So we did that one. That was VV 2 there, right? And I think we did that one. That was 2022, right? And then we did another one in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. This is the 2022. Yep. See, I got to cheat again. Physical media. So the next one was the vinyl re-release, actually, of Get Right of Upside Down Room. Well, Get Right. Sorry, that's the name of the vinyl version. The EP that we did was called Let's Go for a Ride, but it's the same songs, remastered for vinyl and whatnot, but totally different artwork and titles and stuff, as you can see. And it's really, really good. So you did hear a clip of this in A Lonely Place earlier. This one is actually the exact same track listing as the CD, but it's on vinyl. And then finally, we did TV Baby. This is the third re-release of this one, but all three of them have a slightly different track listing. This one has one of the two bonus tracks, but not the other. Again, fitting stuff on vinyl is different. Reworked artwork once again, so it is slightly different from both of the others. So you can identify it on Discogs. But it's great stuff. I highly recommend. Those ones are in very limited supply. So, if you like vinyl, you want to get your hands on those, I recommend it. It's good stuff. It sounds so good. Upside Down Room sounds amazing on vinyl. It was like meant to. They released 7 inches before, but man, it sounds good. So that's all the stuff that we released thus far. But as I mentioned, we've got some upcoming things. The Brando Man All Stars EP is going to come out soon. We've got, hopefully, if all goes well, we'll get the Spivvies one out to you sooner rather than later. And we also are working on another Upside Down Room vinyl release. Hopefully that will be coming to fruition soon. We'll be talking with Daryl more about that soon. And other good stuff on the horizon. That's all I'm going to mention for future projects right now. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Are there any comments? Anything else?
Eric said, "So glad you did this. A fun walk down memory lane."
Right. Oh, I'm glad you're here to remember with me, Eric. And now we'll never forget because it's here for all posterity, right?
Yes.
That's right. Super cool. And like you said, hopefully we'll do another one in, maybe less than 23 years. We'll see. We shall see. But there's going to be a lot of good, more releases coming up. Hopefully an Eric Kennedy album, too. I guess I'm going to put pressure on and throw it out there publicly. But
you inspired him, he said.
I did, so that's good. We need to get that going. So,
one more comment from Daryl. He said, "You should be very proud, Phil."
Oh, thank you, Daryl. You should too. You were a big part of a lot of these, so that's pretty awesome. Stoked to do more, so we'll be in touch on that as well. I guess, is there anything else you want to add, Janelle, as the executive producer over there?
I've just really loved watching you work over the years.
Oh, you're gonna get all emotional on me.
I'm so proud of you.
Are you really crying?
I am.
Oh my goodness, that's great. Thank you. I'm proud too. And it couldn't have done it without you.
I've been there.
You have. A lot of live shows. I mean, this is just an overview, obviously. We've done a lot of other cool stuff as well. And I'm really thankful to all the artists who have participated with us along the years of all sorts of mediums of art. So come over here and let everyone see that you're really crying. This is genuine.
Stop.
Sweet.
I cry at everything.
I know, but it's sweet.
Impressive.
I love you.
I love you too.
Well, I love you guys all for joining us. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your support. Thanks for being here live or watching later on YouTube. Again, you can check us out at pop.vox.music.com. As for Pop.Vox Presents, our live stream show, this is kind of the season finale. We're going to be taking a break for the summer, and we'll be back again with more artists to feature in the fall, probably September, although we'll keep you guys posted on the exact date there. So it's time for summer break then, right? All right. Well, I think it's going to do it. Yes, Janelle?
Yes.
Thank you again to everyone. We'll see you next time on Pop.Vox Presents. Have a great summer, everybody. Woo!